Okay. So, good morning to all of you. We are in day three. We have finished four sessions, and I'm very excited that you're all still charged up. I'm very fortunate that we have a lot of resource people who have come and with an intention to support all our teachers at Mumbai Public School. And ma'am, for your information, Mumbai Public School, there are two. There is one ICSE and one CBSE schools which we are starting this year.
Super.
The schools are being built on the pillars of transparency, accountability, and also trying to develop a learning culture among both the teachers and students. So in Mumbai Public School, students are not only the learners, teachers are also the learners. So they're all learners, and we hope that at some point of time we will also have parents as learners. So that's the whole ideology. That's the whole ideology behind Mumbai Public School. It's a very exciting project for the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, and these are the lucky few teachers who have started. You call it like the founding teachers of the ICSE CBSE schools, along with the school heads. So that's the team, and I would like to now introduce Farzana ma'am. Farzana Dohadwala ma'am has spent all her years in education, in school education, with majority of her years as the heading one of the largest international curriculum board, which is the IB board. She used to head the IB board for almost how many? 18 years? How many years?
Yes, 18 years.
For 18 years, she used to head the IB board for South Asia, includes India. So for her to be given this opportunity when she was a teacher and a principal, to be given this opportunity to head a board, so many of the schools in the country, in South Asia, were affiliated by Farzana ma'am. So she's gone through the process of, what's a good school, what more needs to be done with teachers in terms of teacher development, standards to be built. So she's actually a bank of knowledge, right? For me to just identify a small topic like experiential learning is a very small topic because there are many more things. But I felt she's the apt person because the IB philosophy also is very much close to experiential learning and learning by doing. And that's what we also aim to do in our Mumbai Public School. So, Farzana ma'am, welcome on behalf of Mumbai Public School and the whole team. And we look forward for an interesting session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Francis.
Thank you.
And good morning to all the teachers. I know lockdown mornings are really busy time for everyone, and especially the females. So I think it's this learning enthusiasm which you guys have, which has brought you all here on time to be able to learn much more. I shared a similar path like you guys. You all are starting the ICSE and CBSE schools in the BMC vertical. I was, like Francis said, I started my journey when there was only one school in the IB. Nobody knew. Actually, when I went to make my first rubber stamp, the guy told me that आपके पास कुछ लेटर दिखाओ, ये तो इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो है, आपका रबर स्टैम्प नहीं बना सकता हूँ मैं. And I was taken aback because I had never thought of IB as intelligence bureau. I had to write to the organization in Geneva and get their permission. They sent me a letter, and then my first rubber stamp was made. So guys, you will have a little difficult part initially, but once you have crossed the part, you guys are going to be the stalwarts. Many more schools of these two boards will come up, and you guys will be training others. So a warm welcome. And I just shared this because everyone begins a journey somewhere, So I'm so excited to share what I know. I'm not an expert, but whatever I have learned, I want to share with you all. Okay. Now, why experiential learning? It's so important in today's time because our children are so different. They are made not to learn only from textbooks. And that's basically the difference between different boards. And the more you do experiential learning, you will enjoy it yourself, and the kids will love to come to school. They will not want to miss. Like we have in our international board, sometimes a child with fever wants to come to school. Why? Because he tells his mother, I will miss a very interesting engagement today. So experiential learning is that one interesting factor which you guys can bring in into your teaching learning practices. Um, what I will do is I'm going to move to my PowerPoint. So give me a second till I am connecting. And any questions you have, please put it on the chat. Just bear with me, it takes a little while.
So till ma'am comes in, I'm seeing a question saying that what is the difference? Is there much difference in IB and ICSE board?
Yeah, just give me a second, please.
Yeah, you carry on. I'm just, ma'am, you carry on. I'm just answering one question which they asked about the difference between an IB and ICSE. So in short, every board is actually working on some learning outcomes, and most of the learning outcomes across boards are the same, right? Across the boards are same. How you teach matters, right? That is what is different in every board and in every school. So never think that one board is over the other board, or it's board is more like the way they administer examinations, the way they support their schools. But remember, as a school, you could be a state board, you could be an IB board, you could be an ICSE or a CBSE, but you could be as good as each other, right? So the way you teach matters, not the board, right? So I would say that all boards are good. If you do a good job in your school in the way you teach as teachers, your school is good. So don't go for this board race, because that's a very that's a very wrong thing which is happening in the market, which is very I just wanted to highlight that, ma'am. Maybe you could unmute, ma'am. Yeah. Because I had muted you. So, yeah. Ma'am, you're muted. Still you're muted. So, ma'am, with no matter she has worked with IB a lot, but she also till recently she was also the principal of an ICSE school. That's an addition which I actually forgot to mention. There's a school in Mazgaon where she just left the school, just retired recently as an principal of an ICSE school. So she understands both from the ICSE context and the IB context. Yeah, and Cambridge, of course.
Can you hear me now, Francis?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, super. So let's begin. I call ourselves the next gen teachers because I feel we have to imagine, innovate, and inspire our students. Now, this is something, it's a very tall order for all of us. So let's imagine. It's nothing rocket science. Teachers do not get worried, will we be able to do it? Because it's just doing new things in new ways, or is it old things in new ways? I think what we need to do is do a whole paradigm shift in what we are doing. We are beginning to see educators trying to teach for lifelong learning. So let's become one educator like that, that we help our children become lifelong learners. And how can we do that, friends? We can do that only when we give them concrete experiences. And one of the ways is by doing experiential learning. I'm sure you can see this little drawing which a pre-primary child has made, and I love this. And when I asked him that, look at the imagination of the child. And when I asked him that, what is this? So he says, this is my house. So I said, house on wheels and looks like an aeroplane. Yes, this is my house. So if ever there are floods in Mumbai, I can just fly off to another place which is dry. I mean, it's awesome. You know, these little children, we feel primary, early years children, they don't have, and they will not understand. But I'm telling you, they are so good in their imagination. We are underestimating our children. So how can we become imaginative and innovative? Let's be out of box thinkers. Let's try to do things which are not normal, which are not so textbookish. I mean, that's, as Francis also mentioned, there is no race for boards. All boards teach content. So what is the difference between one board to the other? It's the teachers. We have seen some beautiful examples of even Marathi medium, SSC, aided school in rural areas teaching a very experiential way. So it's not the board, as he rightly mentioned, it's how innovative and out of the box you think for yourself, you know. And why should we be innovative? I mean, you have learned, I have learned, we've all studied. And in all these methods that we studied, we are still doing well for ourselves. But friends, remember, today's child is entered into a world where there is an internet explosion. It's a different world altogether. So here now more important are skill sets rather than content. Because if I Google, I can get any information I want. So what is important is to develop skills in our children in the primary, in the pre-primary. So when they reach middle school, they are ready to take off. So you as teachers, I call you the Gen Next teachers. We need to be inspiring facilitators. What do I mean by facilitators? I mean, it's not the chalk and talk teacher which you and I had in school and which even I initially used to teach in that method. We will facilitate learning. So we will, as they say, no, you can bring a horse to drink water, but you can't make him drink water. So we will create the conditions, the environment for our child to learn. We will facilitate it, but then it will be our kids, and learning like that will be lifelong. So if we talk about lifelong learning, it's not a cliche phrase. It's actually a reality, and we can make that reality. So stop moving from being didactic chalkboard teachers only. I'm sure chalk talk is required, but let's do a combination of chalk talk with other methods and strategies to make learning more meaningful, impactful. So this is a quote which I picked up, which says, teaching and learning at the school empowers and encourages students to become lifelong learners. So we teachers, we had this whole responsibility to make our children become very empowered, courageous, lifelong learners. So the question, I'm sure many of you all know, but I'm sure you all will wonder, why is experiential learning so important? Why is Farzana talking so much about it? And can I facilitate it only in my classroom or outside my classroom? Today, through the presentation, I'm going to share many examples because I truly believe in hand-holding. So if I just give you a presentation and talk about what is experiential, at some point you will say, give us some example. You're telling us to teach children from concrete to abstract. Give us also some concrete examples. So I'm going to share those examples with you. This is a proverb which I love it and which is so much for experiential learning. Tell me and I forget. Show me and I remember. Involve me and I understand. This is so important. We feel I am teaching, I know how to teach, I've been teaching for 20 years. So what's so new now? But the generation is new. We have to become the Gen Next teachers. So we are able to involve them in their learning process. There will be trials for them. But important teachers is the process rather than the product. So if I know addition, that's great. But do I know the process? So I can throw anything in front of my child and my child will be able to add. So the process for us, friends, is more important than the product. I'm sure as teachers, and you guys are all experienced teachers, you've many a time seen in your own classrooms a child who is disinterested, disengaged, not focused. We sometimes, and I'm telling you, parents mostly more than us, say, you know, इतना पैसा डालता हूँ, इतना पढ़ाता हूँ, और ये मेरा बच्चा कुछ पढ़ नहीं रहा है. Why? It's not that the child is at fault. Sometimes let's put a mirror in front of ourselves and see what more can we do to get our children to be more focused, more excited about their learning, want to come to school every day. So let's not do a blame game that we are doing enough, not the child. In fact, now even during online learning, friends, you know, initially we have all struggled in the lockdown, but now we've got our head around it and we are able to give them a bit of experiential learning which they were used to, and now our children are enjoying these sessions much more. This is a very interesting image which has stayed with me and I use it for most of my presentations. Friends, look, this mother is trying to teach the little toddler about watches. So she's showing the picture of the watch and she's showing the actual object on her hand. Now watch. Now she is making the child hear the tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock of her own wristwatch. Now the awesome picture is coming, friends. He sees a picture and he's so innocent. He's putting his head down, trying to hear the tick-tock, tick-tock. And that is what experiential learning is. You give the child an experience, he will try to duplicate it and try to experiment and try to learn. So it's been found, friends, and this is some research which I would like to share with you. 75% of what we do is what children will retain, compared to 5% of what we hear and 10% of what we read. So if we are teachers who are just reading and then asking questions, not much retention is going to be there. But if we are involving them, as we said earlier, a lot more retention will happen in our child. So this is a little small model which I use for experiential learning. And I'm sure because this is going to be up on YouTube, you can always take a picture shot of this and use it for yourselves. First is to give a concrete experience to your child. Then let your child observe and reflect. That's exactly what we saw in that picture of the wristwatch. The mother gave the concrete experience, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Then the child, with his observation, 2 plus 2, he tried to connect and he was seeing whether the picture would give him that same sound. And then we can connect to abstract ideas. So it is this cycle which is very important, and then they will formulate a hypothesis, plan action, and then they will test it. And that's exactly what the child did. He wanted to test what his mother taught him, and will this picture also give him that sound of tick-tock, tick-tock? And that's when he realized pictures are not real, and that is why we cannot hear it. So it was an experience which will stay with this little toddler for his lifetime. Mahatma Gandhi has always been talking a lot about education, learning, and one method is which he spoke a lot about, and I'm sure in our B.Ed courses we've all learned, is learn by doing. What is learn by doing, friends? It's experiential learning. You know, the Western world, they pick up a lot of our concepts. Even this international boards, you know, they are talking about experiential learning. But friends, we had it right in the Guru Shishya Parampara days. If you remember, how did Guruji teach Arjun? He told him to actually practice the bow and arrow, and then learn how to shoot. So that at that time, years ago, we used to do a lot of experiential learning. And now it's being packaged by these international boards, packaged and given back to us as a new way of teaching and learning. But for us Indians, it is our own. We lost it. So we are just trying to revive it. So friends, it's not something which is difficult. It's not something which is new. We have to move. Remember, this is the formula. Concrete to abstract, known to unknown, real world to theory. Because when we move in this direction, understanding becomes much more, and children will not be disengaged or bored or not focused in your class. So how do we start using experiential learning activities, inside and outside our classrooms? And they can be very effective. I will just give you a small example of taking a seed. In fact, in lockdown, we have done this with our children, and we told them, you don't have a pot, it's fine. Take any disposable plastic box that your mother has of the takeaways that we have. Tell your mother to cut 2-3 holes in it, put tissue paper, wet it, and put some moong dal and let the plant grow. And there were all the resources which were at home. You could put rye, you could put anything, and that plant, and keep wetting the tissue so that the seed grows. And then experiences, the teacher gives every day a different experience, which we will talk about when we reach that slide. So why is it important, friends? I'm harping on all this before I give you examples for you to understand that these type of learning activities, engagements, whatever you call them, they make the child be more focused, because they're not going to get bored or disinterested. They are waiting to see what next is going to happen. And that's why they are paying attention. Also, involving children is helping them learn in a different way. Some, as you know, the different children learn in different ways. Some like they are visual learners, some are kinesthetic learners. So when you use experiential activities, you are able to teach children to learn in different ways. Another thing, they learn much faster. Imagine if I was a didactic teacher and I talked about plants. You need sunlight, you need water, you need carbon dioxide, and all of that together in the leaf of the plant. It's a factory and it will grow. All that is so much theory. I will try to mug it up, and maybe after 4 days, and I remember, friends, many of my children have often told me, miss, we study for the exam. After the exam, it's like we vomited out on the question paper. Now don't ask me one more thing. But if that school or that teacher had done experiential learning, it would be so easy for the child. It's like the spiral learning which people talk about. So you teach a concept, and then again you teach a concept the next class, and that's called spiral learning. So our children will learn much faster. So now let's look at some examples, friends. Let's look at the pro and con grid. So this is something which you could all do in your classrooms. So whatever you have done in English, maybe sentence writing, maybe a little paragraph, picture composition, whatever you have done, friends, we call it the pro and con grid. We get our children to write, after the activity, a list of advantages and disadvantages about this topic. So you will be shocked and surprised, friends, because our children come up with such answers which we had not thought about. And we will realize, oh, that's a disadvantage. I never thought, that it confused my child. So the next time when I teach that, I am going to see that this disadvantage is not, and make it into an advantage. So this pro and con grid helps us to help the child also experience experiential learning. Another thing which we often do in our schools is cross-age peer tutoring. This is, suppose you have some good readers in grade 3, and you have some readers who are just beginning to read in grade 1. We have in our timetable a class which we call cross-age peer tutoring. So that 3rd standard child, so we make a timetable where children are paired together. and they, in pairs, in different areas of the school, they are reading together. The child in third standard, fourth standard feels very motivated. I am a mini teacher. I am going to teach my young friend or my friend to learn to read, and I am in by default, I am practicing. You know, what does this experiential learning help us? We are getting many leadership qualities in our children. We are getting them to become more confident. We're getting them to be responsible. So all these attitudes and profiles that we want to develop in our children, it's such experiential learning activities which will make our children more impactful teachers for the future. And this is something which is very simple and can be done whatever medium you're teaching, whatever board you're teaching. It's just peer tutoring. We do it once a week in our school, and we divide it between third and senior KG have a class together, fourth and first have a class together. So it's not disrupting of the whole timetable, but you know, I am a disruptive teacher. I love to create these disruptions because it's these disruptions which help us to give children faster way of learning. Another activity which we could do in English is student generated test questions. You know, every time it's so boring. After we finish a lesson, we create our own questions. And nowadays there are a lot of these softwares where they ask you type all the questions that you can think of, and then at a press of a button, different questions are released and printed on a paper. But it's still the teacher doing. It's still teacher directed. It is not student led. And what is experiential learning classrooms? They are all student centered classrooms. So I am giving you this idea. Try it once, and you can ask your children, and this would be like upper primary 3, 4, 5, that you could ask them after you finish a lesson, take for me 5 questions, 1 line, 2 lines, depending on the skills of your children, about what we have learned. And then they have to also come up with answers which they think are precise. Don't you think that's such an interesting way? They are learning to revise, they are learning to become confident. And also as a teacher, I understand whether they have understood or not. Because if they ask the right questions and the right responses to those questions, I don't have to take a test. I know they know it. So this, and what you can do in this is you should make groups. So for every unit, a different group of children can generate the test questions. And they become like the mini teachers for the class, for that subject or that unit. Children are so excited. It's wow, today I'm sure you will have to counsel your parents' friends. Because many a times, you know, parents turn on and they tell us, teacher kitna lazy hai, abhi bacche ko bolte hai कि please question banao. So first you have to counsel your parents and tell them what you mean by this. Because only when you explain to them will they understand, wow, this is such a different way of teaching and assessment, you know. So this is another idea which I often do in our schools. This is really awesome. I want all of you to look at this image in the middle. You can pick up any picture in your classroom. And what I usually do, if I pick up some very good image, I laminate it and keep it. Because these resources, as a teacher, I can't keep doing these resources continuously. So I laminate and keep these pictures with me. You can even take an old newspaper, an old chart paper which you have used, turn it around and put this in the middle and put these 4 questions. What does it look like? What does it remind you of? What is it made up of? And what could it be used for? Now the children, and you put it, this is a group work, teachers. So if you are dividing your class of say 40 into 4 groups, 5 groups, whatever, in the class, have 5 of these pictures and put them on each table. Now with a pencil on the chart paper, they will write what does it look like. For yourselves also, I want you all to think in your own minds, what does it look like? What does it remind you of? What is it made up of? What it could be used for? You will not believe my children came up with such unique answers. It is a rope, it is a fiber, it is a neuron, it's an artery. They came up with a variety of answers. Okay. Then what I did is, after this exercise got over, I gave them about 20 minutes to do this. And as a group, they thought, they had fun. They moved around in the class. Please understand one other thing, when I, as a principal, as Francis said, of an ICSE school, when I would take a walk, if I would see a very quiet class, I would understand no learning is happening. The teacher is talking. The children are so scared of the teacher that there is no interaction. So if there is noise, let the children move around, see what others have written. Let it be a fun thing. Then say, okay, children, I want everybody to settle down, sit down. So everybody settles down, and then you bring this answer up. Actually, to your surprise, friends, it's an X-ray of a bleached, straightened hair strand. Got you guys, right? You all thought of different things. Nobody thought it was an X-ray of a hair, which was bleached and straightened. Now, that is so interesting for the children, and it will motivate them to explore further. Let's look at it. Let's Google and find out, oh, was this really a hair? And that becomes the first point of learning. If you're teaching something about X-rays, or you're teaching something about light, whatever. So this, an important thing you have to remember for yourselves, and also you have to tell your children, it's not an exercise to get the right answer. It's an exercise to think out of the box, to get excited about learning. 99% your children will not give you the right answer. So that's okay. Please tell them, before you start the exercise, tell them, it's okay not to have a right answer. Now let's look at some examples in science and geography. Okay. So let's do a nature walk. Okay. Now, whatever region, whatever area of Mumbai you are in, I'm sure you can take them somewhere to have a look at plants. Of course, not now and not post-lockdown, but maybe after the vaccine has come out and we are all free and not scared to move around. So you need to take them out, and what you need to do is you have to be very clear what you want them to see. Okay. And we call it a nature walk, and it's part of an experiential learning. So what you can do is you can show them different things and tell them, I want you to find out how the shadows are cast by the sun, what are the rock formations, what type of plants have you seen in your walk. Even something like, even in lockdown, I'll give you another example, just thinking about it. Look out of the window. It's a monsoon day. Okay, what do you see? Gray clouds. What else do you see? Puddles. Do you see a rainbow? So just give them that experience of doing something beyond a textbook and beyond the smart board. This is another very interesting thing. One ball doesn't cost too much, but take a little bigger ball. And what I do is I actually don't write on the ball. I make little chits of paper, and with sellotape, I stick it up. Okay. And after we finish it, like I told you, children make the question answers. Another experience, after they've come back from this field trip, we are playing catch. So it's a physical game. Wow. Mrs. playing catch the ball with us in our class. And you're throwing the ball. Whoever catches the ball, the teacher will ask, okay, what did you see? Okay, I saw some shrubs. Great. What color was the shrub? So whatever they have seen, you can question them in a game form. Then the child throws the ball back to you, you throw the ball back to another child. Also in this, friends, you can plan that this is a quiet child who otherwise doesn't speak too much. So to aim the ball to that child. So if the child gets the ball, he's excited. So even an introvert child will start talking. See, basically we need to create this whole aura of our classroom environment that every child talks. Grade 1 and 2, they may be little introvertish, but if we do all these type of activities by grade 3 and 4, there is hangama in our classrooms. And you will say, quiet, Baba, I need to also teach you. It's not only fun. So this ball activity, we call it the question ball strategy, is also very, very interesting after you finish an experiential learning activity. Now, we also do something called a scavenger hunt. And this is, I like it to be a little competition. Children like this. So divide your children into groups, smaller groups, but always see that you have an adult supervisor. So maybe you could use some teachers who are free in that block, take the help of your headmistress to say, if you can have some peons or didi, someone. So you divide them into as many groups, as many adult supervisions you have. And then you can make your own list, keeping your grade, means your class in mind, your topic in mind, and you could teach them, you know. So for example, in the nature scavenger hunt, we look for such objects such as rocks. You give them this list. You're going to look for rocks, leaves, pine cones, bark, sticks, feathers. Okay? Whatever you find when we take a walk, no plucking leaves. So see, you get into an environment bit also in this. We cannot pluck leaves. If you feel a leaf has fallen on the ground, that is the leaf you're going to pick up for me. If you find a stick fallen off a branch, that is what you're going to pick. So we are also teaching them that we can't pluck leaves and destroy nature. Then after they've come back to class, we put it all on a big table and then we do some sorting. Okay, all either you sort it by color, by texture, smooth or rough, or by even shape. What is bit circular, bit triangle, bit squarish. Not exactly, but you could say somewhat like that. Even if it's 80%, we will consider it to be circular in shape, you know. And then another way you could do this, again, lockdown time, I don't know how we will be allowed to do. You could have a paper, tell everybody to bring a cloth bag from home, okay? Because again, we can't touch one another's things because of coronavirus. And you can ask them to bring little pieces of paper, pictures from newspaper, anywhere, put it inside the bag. They take out each and then they talk about this. So it's like a show and tell, but it is related to the science topic. So use your innovation. That's when I started, become a Gen Next teacher. Imagine, innovate, be a different type of teacher and make learning every day. I would suggest in 5 days of the week that we have, at least 3 times you should be doing something interesting. Friends, if you just Google, you will get 1,001 ideas. You will get confused, kya karu, kya nahi karu. So it's not something that we are experts. We've all learned it by taking ideas, getting inspired. Because one word which I've said, you're going to inspire your students, but you're also going to get inspired by other teachers. So we have something called the SLN Global Network, where we ask everybody to brainstorm and upload stuff that they have done which work. So another teacher will say, wow, that's a cool idea. Let me take it, you know. So it's okay. It's not a copying thing. It's just getting inspired. And one group of children had a lovely learning experience. Why can't another group of children have? You know, my internet is down. I can't Google today. But if I have an idea which a friend in the neighboring class has done, I can tweak it to suit my conditions. I'll share a history example with you all. I would say this would be around grade 4th, when we are doing Indus Valley civilization, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and all. Now, if I just start talking, even using a map and talk about it, my children have already lost focus. For them now, this whole civilization, they were not existing. They're not interested. So how do I get them interested, friends? You know what I do? A day before I'm going to start this chapter, anywhere in your school, find a pot or kuch माटी या कुछ भी ढूंढो, एक जगह ढूंढो, ठीक है? नहीं है तो किसको बोलो जिसके पास एक पॉट है, प्लीज मेरे लिए लेके आना पॉट. फिर मैं माटी थोड़ा, I sort of move the mud and then I put an old bangle, a broken bangle, one old spoon, one earring. I put things inside and then I cover it with mud, okay? And then from the pre-primary, I say, can you please give me those sand play toys that you have? Okay. My children don't know I have done this preparation. In the morning, I'll say, wow, today, friends, we are going to become archaeologists. Archaeologists? What a big word. I wouldn't, in a normal class, they would have to mug the definition. Who is an archaeologist? I don't want them to mug it. I want them to experience it. So what do? I say, okay, I'm taking children in groups and we are going to do some very interesting field work. And, if you have upper classes, you can give them those goggles and just create that aura. Then we go down, make them wear the gloves. अभी तो कोरोना वायरस के लिए अपने सबके पास gloves भी आ गए हैं. Gloves पहन के जाते हैं. And they scoop the mud with that sand play toy that we have. One child will say, and you take your mobile phone with you, take permission of the principal that today I need to take it with me in the class, in the ground where I'm doing this experiment. One child will say, Messi, I found a earring. Wow, wait. You take a picture. Wow, you found a earring of so many years. This is what archaeologists find. They dig, and they find old things. Wait, we have to put this very safely. So take one tray, put a tissue paper, and put this earring. Don't touch it, friend. This is a valuable relic which we all have found. Someone will say, Miss, I found a broken spoon. Again, picture, click, put it there. So you do this whole hangama and they find different objects. One group finishes, then the next group comes up. They do the same thing. Then in the next day or whenever you have the next class, that's when you start talking about who is an archaeologist, what is a civilization, how did they find out there was a civilization like that? And that's how you begin. They will be so keen. So when you will talk, then you link it to art. So when you're talking about seals, you're talking about jewelry found in the Indus Valley civilization, tell your art teacher, this is experiential plus transdisciplinary learning. So you tell your art teacher, ये photo Indus Valley में ऐसी jewelry बनती थी. So please create this with M-Seal, with clay, with anything, I mean, go back to your pre-primary, they will have a lot of this clay, which they play, the Play-Doh that they say, and use that and they make the jewelry, click a picture, call the parents, let them come once, of course, vaccine and when the social distancing norms are gone, we can invite parents and they can be taught, and the children can be talking about their experiences. These photos they can show. This is how we learned who is an archaeologist. This is how we learned what is the type of jewelry found. They can create that great bath. They can create a lot of stuff with the art teacher. So the art teacher has her own curriculum, but of course, once a month, she can do something linked to your unit also. And what happens? Together, we can make our children learn in a very different way, which is not very boring. Now, as I was telling you about growing the plant, remember earlier we spoke, your child can learn science, maths, and English, etc., with only the growing of a plant. So when it is not coronavirus and they're out and everything, you can ask every child to grow in a paper cup and anything, okay? And then you tell them, take it home, water it, put it in the sunlight, and every day, every Friday, I tell them measure it. So they measure and then they have to write their recording. Okay, it was 1 inch, now it's become 1.5 inch, and they keep watering. So they are learning the science, what is required for growth of a plant. They are also learning how the plant is growing, how leaves pop up, how green they are, how many branches come out. They are learning maths because they are measuring how tall the plant is growing. They are learning English. How? Because they have to write all this in sentences. Today, Friday, 20th, my plant was 2 inches tall. So that's construction of an English sentence. So you see, with one experiential learning engagement, you can get your children to do so much of transdisciplinary learning. So one experience can multiply into many. And fortunately, even in primary, we have one teacher or maybe only 2 teachers teaching all the subjects. You could, and if you're an Hindi teacher, I would teach them a poem about plant, and then they are going to recite that poem. If I am an art teacher, I would ask them to draw different types of leaves, maybe do leaf shading, maybe that nature scavenger hunt we did and we bought all those dead leaves don't throw them away. We use them, we paint with them, we do pencils rubbings on them. So that's one activity of nature hunt could be used in multiple subject areas. So whatever resource you have, never throw it. I just share one other thing. Of course, now it's not possible. Once we are free from this coronavirus issue, if anybody goes on for holidays, tell them to bring pictures for you. Tell them to bring a ticket that they have gone to see. Maybe a gallery, maybe they went to see a movie, maybe a bus ticket, a train ticket. Those become resources for you, friends. So in experiential learning, you can actually play. Today, we are all going to go from here to Goa and let's do the experience, okay? You will go to the station. Which train will you catch? This is your ticket. How will you, the TC ask you questions? How will you pack your food? So you are teaching them geography of how you move from Mumbai to Goa. You're teaching them about rail networks. You're teaching them resources. You can create umpteen ideas based on whatever is your syllabus for that week, for that month. Now let's come to maths. Let me teach you something about maths. Excellent. Again, baking a cake. I always believe learning is a partnership between parent, child, and teacher. Don't only think, and okay, you may think, "Arey bhai, oven to nahi hai mere ghar mein." In fact, during lockdown, my oven conked off. It was my son's birthday. I wanted to bake a cake. So it was so simple. I used it. Please Google this and you can make it even in lockdown at your own house. On the gas, using an aluminium pateli and tawa, lokhan ka tawa se, maine cake bake kiya. So in that, you can ask your parents to do it. So it's not necessary they have. So it is called a 3-ingredient cake if you want to Google this. Okay. And it just needs some biscuits. It needs warm milk and a bit of baking soda or a bit of ENO to raise the thing. And you are done. Your cake can be made at home in lockdown also. So, but when this cake is being made on normal times, you can say, look at the ingredients. You took 1 spoon of this, half spoon of this, a pinch of this. So they are learning maths. After the cake is made, you take it out and you're cutting it. You're teaching them fractions. How many pieces did I make? You can teach them addition. There were 8 pieces. 2 were eaten by Ramesh. How many pieces were left for his sister? So it's a fun engagement. Plus, you can even get one of your parents to bake the cake and bring it for you. And you can do this in class yourself. Another thing that you can do is math memory, So you can play a math problem. So what we do is if I write 2 plus 2 and I have another sheet where it is written 4. Okay, this is a very primitive one. I'm giving you an exam, very simple. And then in the class, I distribute these sheets. Now they are running around to find their partner. 2 plus 2, where is 4, man? Where is 4? Where is 4? That child will say, I have 4. The 2 join hands and the first pair that comes to the teacher is the winner. What do you give? No prizes to give. Give them a smiley, give them something, maybe a chocolate, a sweet, and it's fun. But you are revising your maths concept. It could be more complex based on what it happens. Okay. Now another thing is the candy graph. What is the candy graph? Children love chocolates, right? So we can teach them bar diagrams. We can teach them statistics. So statistics looks like it is a 8-9 standard ka subject hai. I can teach it even to senior KG. It's so easy. Let's ask all the children. I have sweets, I have lollipops, I have chocolates, I have gems. How many like gems? 5 children. How many like chocolates? 4. So take numbers and then draw bars, just rough bars, 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch. Now you can start asking them questions, and it's interesting because it's chocolates, it's a candy graph. Then you will say, which candy is the least favorite in my class 2A? So the children will say, lollipops. Why lollipops? Because only 2 children said that. Which candy is the most favorite? They'll say Silk Cadbury. Why? Because 4 children said they love Silk Cadbury. So in this way, we can use a graph, we can use chocolates, we can use anything. You can use blocks if you have in class, you can use even colored stones and pebbles, you can use anything, but make it an experience for them rather than drawing the bar on the blackboard and teaching them, and then ask them to draw it in their books. They will love to do some exercise, and this is application. They are learning how to analyze. This will help them so much in their secondary school. Now, another example for maths, sunrise and sunset. Tell them, open the newspaper and find out the time when sun rises in Mumbai, when does sun set in Mumbai. Okay, now count how many hours was that. So if sun rises at say 5:30, sets at 6:30, how many hours? So that was the length of day in Mumbai. Isn't that interesting? No resources required. But now the child will understand, and whenever he looks at a newspaper, he'll always want to look at that weather thing, you know. They can learn to make jewelry. Sorry for the spelling error on jewelry. Jewelry making. What you do, give them color papers. You can give them beads, whatever you have. If you don't have anything, just take even blocks, small blocks, and tell them to thread it. But you have to give them a pattern, because you are teaching them patterns. So you are going to give them 2 red, 1 blue, 1 green, 2 red. And then they have to threadle in that pattern. Now suppose you don't have so many of that, the whole class can't do it. So different groups, you give different patterns based on what you have as resources. So you create the patterns based on the resources that you have, and the children will enjoy. Another very, very interesting is symmetrical designs. You know, what you do is you take a drawing, maybe you take an apple. Okay, I'm not a very good artist, so I'm giving you an example of an apple, and then I cut it from the middle. Okay, and then one part I give it to one child, like the number game, and the other part to another. Now I'll say, move around in the class and find your partner, and then they will learn about symmetry, and then they join, and that's how you're going to teach them about symmetry. Somewhere you could also give them a drawing. You give them half an apple and tell them to draw the other half. But see, be careful of your symmetry. Measure how much it is, so you draw the second part approximately the same. So that's where you can talk about symmetry. And if a child has drawn which is not symmetrical, you'll say, wow, that's asymmetrical. So you are introducing the concept of asymmetry. Okay? Now, this is a video. I'm not going to play this video, but I would definitely want all of you all, please, I urge you, this will be put up into some YouTube video or something, this whole PowerPoint. Or please, if it's possible, just take from your photo a snapshot of this link. I want you to play this video. This is a video from Singapore. And this shows how on the playground, they are teaching and revising maths and doing experiential learning. So it's not always that you need to be doing it. You could also ask your PE teacher to help you and say, yeah, I made these things. Now, when they come for PE, make them play this game. So if you look at this video, there are umpteen ideas there, because it's a video of a lot of images. So you will see lots of ideas where the children are playing, having fun, but they are revising concepts of experience. And this is what is experiential learning. So this, definitely look at it. It's very, very, very interesting. Now, I always believe experiential learning is interesting, but today's children, you know, your own child loves games. So, and I know my own grandson, when I have to do something which is very important, by default screen time, no screen time, बहुत सब बोलते हैं, लेकिन तब मुझे बहुत urgent काम है, I will give my mobile, say just watch a YouTube, okay? And they enjoy those games. So why can't we use that concept which our children love of games in our classroom? Okay, so it's no screen time, but it is gamification. So when you gamify anything, like I told you the Singapore video, where the sports teacher will do. I've told you earlier, the art teacher can do, the Hindi teacher can do. Everybody can help you in your learning. Sometimes the Hindi teacher is teaching kakhaga. She can tell the PE teacher that आज कुछ भी खेलाओ, हॉपस्कॉच या जो भी करते हैं, कैचिंग, क्वेश्चन बॉल स्ट्रेटेजी, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, मेरा ये रिविजन कराना है मुझे. So that's where, friends, collaboration with all teachers is very important. Usually we live like an island. I know my job, I will do it. You know, my next teacher, my Hindi teacher, art teacher doesn't even know. She says, I have my own curriculum, I have to finish. There is no mad rush. In fact, the coronavirus blessing is now people are tweaking the curriculum content so that there is more learning happening, which is more balanced. So what you need to do is a lot of collaboration together so that there is no overlap. So for example, if I am teaching pulse, body, you know, breathing, whatever, temperature, I can ask the PE teacher, first get them to measure their pulse, and each child can measure. You teach them how to put their hand on their wrist and take a pulse count. Then he or she makes them run 2 rounds, 3 rounds in the compound, the small little place, depending on the area, the number of rounds the PE teacher can decide. Now all settle down, sit on the mats, and now take your pulse again. So what was the difference? So you are teaching your science concept, but through fun. And you can also be there along with the PE teacher if you want, or that the child writes the experience and gives it to you later in class, whichever way. But it's this connect and collaboration with all teachers who are teaching in your grade level, which will help you. Now, let's come to this one game, I have, who has. So it's very similar to what we said earlier. I have named it I have, who has. Okay. So you start with a person who has the card, who gets the card, start. So now she is the first person. That person reads his question. This is revision of geography. Who has a piece of land that is surrounded by water on all sides? Now the children should know it is an island. So the child who has an island will say, hey, I have an island. So the two come together. I have a question. He has the picture, and the two together become the island. So another question. So you create your own questions. I have given you these examples for geography. Who has a continent that is the name of a country? So it's like a riddle also. Okay. It's also revision, but it's a riddle. So the person with Australia will come up and say, hey, I have Australia. So the two will come together and they have completed their assignment. You know, you can run an internet search to find I have, who has, and there are so many games, friends, created by teachers. Why do you want to reinvent the wheel when it's already there? So Google I have, who has games, and you can use whatever is suitable to your content, to your syllabus, to your age, and you can play this with your children. Now another thing, as teachers, of course, the Mumbai Public School is organizing all these workshops. I think professional development is my own thing. Of course, the organization will help me, but I as a teacher need to upscale myself. I would love you to go to YouTube and hear whenever you're free and in lockdown, late evening, night, rather than watching a TV serial or a Netflix or Z5 or whatever of those online portals, watch a TEDx talk on experiential education. Hear what others have to say on this. I have given you again these two examples. These were interesting talks. One was by Jess Lembrecht and the other is by Martin Aguirre-Lehner. We have less time. In 1.5 hours, I want to do so much with you all. That's why I have put this image up to tell you, even if you click on YouTube and say TEDx Talks Experiential Learning, you will get a whole line of it. You pick and choose what interests you and hear it. So you will also get a different perspective. See, and one other thing at this point, when I'm talking about perspectives, is teachers always try to bring guest speakers into your classrooms. Because experiences should not only be your experiences, which you share with the children. You should get another guest speaker. It could be a parent, it could be a teacher from another class, from another school, it could be anyone. A friend you know who is doing something interesting related to your topic, and they come and they talk. Suppose if I'm doing the human body, I could get a doctor, I could get a nurse, I could get others to talk about it. Either they come and start it or they end it. Now, if I'm doing festivals, celebrations, so I would invite that community parent to come and the grandparent. So why should I only get only parents? Grandparents love to get engaged, love to come to school. So how do I get a grandparent to come to school? He comes and see, I truly believe English will be the language in which we teach, but we have to support mother tongue, because mother tongue support is essential. What I speak at home could be Gujarati, what you speak at home could be Marathi. We should be proud of our mother tongue. So this is an experience which you will get in experiential learning, where you invite a grandparent and tell the grandparent, आप English में मत बोलना, आप हिंदी में बोलो, गुजराती में बोलो, मराठी में बोलो, and let the children get exposed to that language also. And after that grandparent finishes, if he's talking in Marathi, you could have the Marathi teacher or the English teacher then also telling the children the gist of the whole talk in a different language again. So if 4 children have not understood, but you know, children are they are like sponges, friends. We underestimate them. We think, "Arey, nahi samajh padega to," they understand. Now, how do they understand? They contextualize it. So if I'm showing something, one mithai, and I'm talking about how I make it and why it's important to make it in Diwali, he will connect the dots. Maybe he will not understand the name of the mithai, but he'll understand mithai is something which they make in Diwali to celebrate Diwali. So they find their own understanding and pathways. So do this. It is called mother tongue support. And you can do this by inviting grandparents. Grandparents feel very happy because they feel they get an opportunity to come to their grandchild's school. And again, they have to talk in the language in which they are comfortable with. So it's a win-win situation for the school, for the children, as well as for the grandparent. So similarly, the TEDx talks is what I was saying. They are mostly in English only. So you will have to hear it and pick up ideas. So what I do is when I watch a TEDx talk is I keep a pen and paper with me. And with the pen and paper, I actually jot down the points that the speaker is saying. So when I want to do it in my own class, I am able to do it very well. So they say, so let's try and help our students. So my take on this whole experiential learning is student distraction isn't a new problem. It's a problem which you and I faced. I remember when I used to go to school, I used to be a backbencher. Not because I was not clever, not because, but ठीक है ना, maybe मैं समझ गई ना, एक बार टीचर बोला समझ गया भी. If the teacher is repeating, because she has to repeat, because she has to teach to the average pace of the class, I was deceived. But if at that time I had experiential learning, and if the teacher had involved me in some more difficult task, I would have been engaged because I was involved. So that's where the involvement is very important. And that's where, even in lockdown, why do we feel students are getting bored at home? Why should they get bored at home? You give them the type of jobs to do at home, like, for example, mopping a floor. It's a life skill. Life skills are so important. We should teach our children to do that. I'll share just one example with you. My nephew went on a job assignment to Dubai. Okay. Now, till he lived in Mumbai, his mother did everything for him. Nashta, वो खा लेवे तो प्लेट भी उठा के माँ रखती थी. Uska shoes polish, iron clothes, everything. Big child, huh? He was 21. When he went to Dubai all alone, the office car would come to pick him at 6:30 in the morning. He wrote back to all of us and said, "Don't make this mistake which my mom made. I am struggling now." Teach these skills to your children who are younger now. So when they become independent and they grow out, they will be able to manage. I have learned it. It's not that I'm not, but I learned it the hard way. So friends, mopping the floor बोल रही थी मैं. लॉकडाउन में कराओ ना अपने खुद के बच्चे को, एंड मैं कैसा इंटरेस्टिंग बनाती हूँ. व्हाट डू आई डू? I play music. I do some dance steps with my children. And each sweep that we do, either with the jadu or with the mop, there is music playing. So it's a fun environment. And the child enjoys it. So when the child is involved and is enjoying, he will think it's not a chore, it's fun. Every day he will say, I am going to do this. So you have taught one life skill to your child by default. Same way, कोरोना वायरस का इश्यू होगा, स्कूल को साफ सफाई होगा, ग्लव्स पहन के अपने बच्चे को अपन सिखाएंगे. Of course, we'll follow what the government tells us and what doctors tell us. But I am saying teach them small life skills in their experiential learning, which will be with them for life. That is so very important. So, friends, another thing that we need to do is, I've taken you up to the door. I've opened the door for you. Now, where do you guys go from here? I would love to hear from you. If you guys have any issue, you have not followed something which I've said, you need some more help, you need some ideas. Okay, I am teaching, maybe I am teaching a topic about equator. How do I bring experiential learning? Please feel free to connect with us. We are very much there and we'll be there to help you. Maybe send you a link, maybe send you an idea. Whatever you need, we'll be very much there to share these things with you. Okay? I want, when you get this on YouTube, or take a picture of this with your phone now, so you don't miss out on this. It's called 2 Stars and a Wish. Okay? And I would love all of you to do this exercise for yourselves after this talk of mine. And this is the experience you will get. So when you finish a unit, give this to your children to do. So you will know what were the things they liked and what would they want more from you. So what you have to write: I liked this, I enjoyed this, I learned this, I used this, I read this, I'm proud of myself because whatever. So this is what the children would write. That's the 2 stars, means what they liked. Now, children love to wish. So these are the wishes. I would like this. Dash was difficult. I tried to use it. I would like help with this. So maybe a child is struggling with addition. So he would say, addition was difficult. I tried to use your idea, but it didn't work. I would like you to help me with addition. So when this is given back to you, each teacher will know what my class enjoyed. So this is my green ticks, that okay, these are things which I should do even next year with my class. And this, each child had some difficulty. I will come to know what was the difficulty, and based on that difficulty, I would be able to help my child. So it's two. It's like, this is like your evaluation. It is your feedback form. What worked and what did not work, or where, I would not say did not work, I would say where the child needs more help. Okay? So this is something which I have used very, very often. I urge you, try it even once and you will see the benefit out of it. Like this, there are lots of ideas. If you want, I mean, the time was 1.5 hours. We have already reached 11:45, so I have only 15 more minutes with you guys. So if you want any more ideas, please feel free to write to me and I'll share this with you. Just please mention MPL workshop, help required. So I will know which teacher is asking me, because I do a lot of presentations and workshops. So I mean, want to know who is writing to me and how I will be able to help. So these are my contact details, my email ID, my mobile number, and my LinkedIn profile. I would love you to write to me, and I would love if you can fill this 2 wish and a star and take a photo and email it to me on fdohadwala@gmail.com. This is my reflection. Did it help you all? Did it not help you all? What worked? What did not work, for you all? So again, in the YouTube, this, because Francis sir is recording this, so obviously this will be very much there. Okay? So we are back on the main screen, and there are 45 chats. Let's see what people are asking. These are ideas helping. Interesting. I'm just seeing if there is. If you have any question, please pose a question here for me so I can help you with it. What I suggest, friends, is sometimes you hear lovely things, and I've done this for myself also. That I have attended a lot of life skill sessions, okay? And I realize when it happens, when I want to do it, I've forgotten what happened. So I would say at the end today, whenever you get the time, play this, write down the things which you like and which you want to try in your class once school starts. That notebook becomes like my to-go book. Whenever I want to do something, I use this notebook, you know. So whatever workshops you do, I would suggest, and this is what I do, I'm sharing my personal experience with you. Do it so that you are able to enjoy seeing and practicing what you have learned. Anything else would you like to ask? If you conduct such more sessions during this lockdown period, do let us know. We would love to join and learn from you. Jyoti has said that. Sure, Jyoti. What I will do, we do a lot of SLN shows, friends. And whenever we do, I will tell Francis to put it on your group also. So you all can join in, you know. Okay, someone is asking for English grammar. How do we go about experiential learning? You know what we did? You know, I've done this with my own grandchild, so I'm sharing this experience. Lockdown, you have to do with things that you have, right? So what I did is on my floor, you can do it in your classroom, you can do it on the ground. I used a chalk and I made a hopscotch. ठीक है, जैसा अपन hopscotch बनाते थे. Every square, I wrote noun, verb, adjective, whatever. Or if you are doing types of nouns, you could write common noun, proper noun, collective noun, depending on what you're teaching. If you're doing parts of speech, put parts of speech, types of nouns, put. Then what you can do is the child has to throw some ring or something. Wherever it reaches, if it reaches on common noun, he has to give you a common noun. Bat. Superb. Next child, throw. It's on proper noun. Ganga. Very good. Go. So you, whatever you have thought in nouns, you are revising through an experience and through fun. Okay? Any other idea? I'll tell you about maths also. We did this. It was very, very interesting. We made all the children sit in a circle. Okay? And we had 2 hands. Okay? I cut out 2 hands out of cardboard, short and long. The minute hand and the hour hand. And then we got one, the class would tell by turn. You know, circle time, you can do this in circle time also. And the class would say 5 o'clock. So now 2 children, one would put on the hour hand, one on the minute hand, and 5 o'clock. If they go wrong, the teacher is a facilitator. She'll say, super, incorrect, next child, do it roll number wise. So there is no miss happening in the class, you know. So it's important that you create this in your own classroom. Another thing that you can do is, I don't know whether you have, I have a dart game in my house in lockdown again. What I did, I wanted to practice addition. So darts, mera grandchild, darts फेंकता था. 3 darts he's allowed. Now whatever he got, he had to add. So it went on 7, then 5, and 1 fell down. So 7 plus 5, how much? 12, 13. You never try to give him the right answer. Let him check. If he's wrong, say check again. And then we put down the points. I would throw. I would add mine. And then someone would be the winner. So you could do it even with your own child, you know. I'm just giving ideas. What you could do is just make a chart paper. Newspaper पे भी बना सकते. Chart paper का भी जरूरत नहीं है, friends. And उसके ऊपर numbers लिखो. और उसके ऊपर जैसा मैं वो language का game किया, वैसा not on the wall, on the floor. And you can put numbers, small numbers, 2, 7, 8, 10, depends on what you have taught them in this. If you're teaching them tables, you can put 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then it goes, if it goes on 4, now tell me the 4 times table. Now it goes on 2, tell me the 2 times table. So there are multiple ways of how you can try and do it. Friends, I have not learned anything by my own self. It has come by just practice. गूगल चाचा जिंदाबाद. गूगल में इतने आइडियाज है फ्रेंड्स, इतने आइडियाज है कि यू डोंट नीड मी, यू डोंट नीड एनीवन. You will become an experiential learner. And friends, remember, what did I say at the start? When I started the journey for IB, there were 2 schools. When I left after 18 years, there were 100 and some 70 schools, 170 schools. How did I do it? It was not, you learn on the job. And that's how we've all learned. So I want you all to be those star blazers. So when it happens, maybe when the next 4 schools open, they are going to depend on you all. You all are going to be the mentor teachers for that group of teachers. So whatever you are learning, professional development, please share it with others in the chain. Because it's only when you have the mentor-mentee relationship, it's all about sharing, collaboration. Abhi online में कितना sharing अभी हो रहा है. You know, I'll tell you, initially, like a school down the road, 2 schools in one area, there would be competition. मेरे को ज़्यादा बच्चे मिले, उसको admission नहीं मिला, especially the private non-aided schools. अभी lockdown में all that competition has gone out of the window. सब एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे हैं, ये कैसा कर रहे हैं भाई तुम लोग, एक दूसरे से आइडिया शेयर कर रहे हैं. This whole spirit of collaboration has come up. And why did it come up, this spirit of collaboration? Because everybody is stuck for ideas. So even amongst yourself, friends, you all can have your own WhatsApp group. It's not about showing off. Sometimes कुछ लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं, अरे बहुत शो ऑफ है, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चीजें करती है. ठीक है, शो ऑफ है तो शो ऑफ है, मैं करती हूँ. आई एम शेयरिंग विथ यू, टेक इट और लीव इट. मेरा आइडिया है, मैं शेयर करती हूँ. एंड दैट्स एग्जैक्टली, I would request all of you all to join that SLN Global Network. अभी नहीं करना, जून जुलाई में करना, जब आपका स्कूल स्टार्ट होगा. That time you will get ideas which other schools are also putting up. Yes, one question someone is asking, very nice. Will we be able to complete the portion if we do experiential learning for every lesson? I have not said you will do experiential learning for every lesson. I said you will have to pick and choose. अभी कुछ चीज है like composition writing में experiential learning में कुछ ज्यादा नहीं करा सकती, वो तो ऐसा ही करेंगे. But it is important that you pick and choose your chapters. So, and you should do it at least twice a week. So suppose this week I'm doing something with English, next week I'll do maths, the third week I'll do in games, fourth week I'll do, not necessarily every subject, every chapter I have to do experiential, but give them that flavor is what I'm saying across subjects. And you are teaching, it's not that you're not teaching, friend. So if your subject was nouns, you're teaching nouns, and of course after you teach nouns you're going to revise. You एक worksheet तो देंगे ही नहीं करने को क्लास में, class work, वो आप experiential learning में कर रहे हैं. So what happened is that you're teaching, but you're teaching and you're revising, you're taking like a test. A test could be done like this, and you can tell but see, inform the parents what you do. They should be open to it. They should know what is happening. So rather than a paper pencil test, I would do this floor as a game test and give the marks. This is what these international boards are doing, by which they are charging इतने बड़े-बड़े पैसे ले रहे हैं वो लोग. क्यों? क्योंकि ये they have made fun for exam. There is no stress in our children. I remember जब मेरा बच्चा स्कूल में था, it was test. इतना टेंशन होता था, घर में टीवी नहीं चले. आई एम श्योर आप भी ऐसा सिचुएशन में गए होंगे. नो टीवी, नो लाउड टॉकिंग, कुछ नहीं. वो कर्फ्यू जैसा वातावरण घर में है क्योंकि कल एग्जाम है मेरे बच्चे का. बट आई थिंक इफ इट्स एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग, माय चाइल्ड नोज एवरीथिंग. मेरे को क्यों ये करना है? थोड़ा रिविजन 1-2 घंटा करूंगी, मेरे बच्चे को आएगा. बिकॉज दैट हैज बिकम, व्हेन यू मूव फ्रॉम कॉन्क्रीट टू एब्स्ट्रैक्ट, फ्रॉम डायरेक्ट टू इनडायरेक्ट, वो बच्चे के अंदर समझ आ गई है. और वो 2 wish and 1 star में सॉरी 2 stars and 1 wish बोली ना, उससे आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कौन सा बच्चा किस में वीक है. तो यू कैन हेल्प और यू कैन कॉल द पेरेंट. सी मेनी टाइम्स पोर्शन कंप्लीशन में मेरे पास इतना टाइम नहीं है कि मैं हर बच्चे को लेके बैठूं. यू कैन कॉल द पेरेंट. I think your child is not understanding addition problems. So I will explain to you. Please practice with your child. I will take one class with him extra, but please practice with him. तो मैं वो ओनस पेरेंट पे भी डालूंगी. सब नहीं, मैं मेरे माथे पे सब नहीं लेने वाली हूँ. Please understand. IB, I think someone has written this question, Neelam. IB is self-exploration. No, IB is very similar to, मैं एक बार आपको समझाऊंगी, कोई भी बोर्ड ले हो, ICSE, CBSE, IB, कैम्ब्रिज, इवन SSC, सब बोर्ड सेम है. ठीक है. कंटेंट, अगर मैं थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड में, कैन आई टीच समथिंग अबाउट रॉकेट्स इन थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड? नो, क्योंकि लेवल बच्चे का जितना है उतना ही मैं पढ़ा सकती. तो कंटेंट वाइज सब बोर्ड्स बहुत सिमिलर है, लेकिन पढ़ाने का तरीका अलग होता है. दैट इज वेयर एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग विल मेक योर चिल्ड्रन मोर सक्सेसफुल, योर चिल्ड्रन लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर. आप पढ़ाने का तरीका अलग करेंगे, वो टेक्स्ट बुकिश, I am, see, 8, 9, 10th will become textbookish, whether you like it or whether I like it. क्योंकि जब तक बोर्ड्स में पेपर का फॉर्मेट चेंज नहीं होगा, अपने को वो करना ही पड़ेगा. But at least in primary, we can bring fun. We can make concepts more clear for the children. So, thank you everybody. Let me see the time. Yes, we are reaching 12 o'clock only. Thank you very much for giving me a silent hearing. And what I did today was very bad, not in your class. I was talking, you were listening. I want it to be interactive in your class. But abhi Google Meet hai, naya topic hai. So any questions for that interaction, please feel free. I have given you my email ID, fdohadwala@gmail.com. Likho, or I am there to help you always. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best for all that you do in your life, and please stay safe. Stay blessed. Look after your families. अभी experiential learning अपना important नहीं है. आपकी family की safety, मेरी family की safety important है. So stay blessed, stay safe. Thank you. Namaste.
Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Hello. Just I wanted to give ma'am vote of thanks on behalf of
Oh,
everyone.
how sweet, how sweet. Tell me.
Dear madam, it was indeed been a very unique experience, and today's orientation session, like last past couple of days, has been very fruitful to us, ma'am. And your today's lecture has very well brought out the factors related to experiential learning, and especially giving example by placemat strategy, question ball strategy, and scavenger hunt. Means almost, ma'am, you have covered various all the topics, and beautiful examples well given, and they are very simple and easier to implement also. And it was very innovative, and especially the link we have shared. No, we will definitely look forward, and we'll try to search that TED talks
Thank you
for
so much.
improvement,
Please.
for improving day to day our improvement also. Really,
Yes.
ma'am, it was very good.
Thank
And
you so much.
finally, once again, on behalf of our CBSE and ICSE team members who are participant in this orientation course, and so also on behalf of our BMC school management, and less and to the most coveted resource person, Mr. Francis sir, I'll take the opportunity to thank for this wonderful session, ma'am, and I wish to have a nice day to ahead, ma'am.
Same
Thank
to you
you.
all. Wishing you all. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.